the step 4 of the 9 steps to improve your relationships. We're brought to you live and ready to be strong and ready to serve your deepest needs in your relationships. Let's go.
So going live in 3, 2.
Leaders and healers from around the globe, from around the universe. This is Anthony Cheam. Welcome to the Power, Purpose, and Passion podcast, where we help each and every single person on this call, on this podcast, to claim their power, clarify their purpose, and cultivate their deepest and highest passion. So ultimately, they can show up as the ultimate version of themselves, and super ultimately to then share their best version of themselves to others, as well as helping them become the best version of themselves. And we are on a quest, of course, on this next couple of weeks to talk about was personality types. And today is quite profound and personal for me, because it's all about emotional mastery. And recently, I'd just like to tell you, and by the way, for the people that are watching live on Instagram or Facebook, that's not Cameron. He didn't get a tan in India or something. That is Danish, one of the one of the magicians behind how all this works, and who's part of the team and help us serve you at the greatest, deepest levels possible. So yeah, this is quite say hi, Danish.
Thanks for the introduction, Anthony.
You're welcome, man. But yeah, today's quite personal for me. I just recently lost my mother, actually on Friday, and it's a little bit hard to be on this call, on this podcast, but I realized emotional mastery was the topic. I obviously took the weekend to mourn and to grieve and to really process this information. It was quite sudden, and with my family there, we were all able to say goodbye to my mother on her death table in the ICU. So found and emotional, of course. There's a lot of emotions going around, but part of emotional mastery, I'm going to talk about 3 things that are important to master your emotions, to master your life, and this is a very important part of relationships. Because if you can't master your own emotional well-being, or at least know yourself, and how to navigate yourself through your emotional duress and troubles and the good times and the bad times, it's a little bit harder to then express that and to provide that emotion to other people. So welcome to the show there, Danish. What's going on, man?
Not much on our end. We're just working, meditating every day, trying to build good habits.
Yeah, you got that. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. So why don't we just jump right into it? So, I talk about emotional mastery, and this, as I said, to repeat myself, this is quite a profound show for me, just because I'm going through it myself. And mastering your emotions doesn't mean you are positive all the time. That does not mean you're going to be positive all the time, because things are going to happen that are going to be that are going to take you through a roller coaster ride. Things are going to happen in your life where life throws you a lemon or a bunch of lemons, and you're gonna feel like, wow, the world is coming down on me. It is hard. As I said, I lost my mom on Friday. We had some renovations in the house, and a week prior to that, my wife's grandmother died. So that was also, so it's all piling in my world. But I know deep down inside, as I go through this challenge in my own personal life, that I know it's serving my evolution. I know it's making me a better person. I'm able to serve better. I might be able to love more deeply and become more compassionate to other people's suffering. So the first step to emotional mastery really comes down to this: feeling the entire spectrum of the entire human experience, denying nothing, disassociating from nothing. Let poverty touch you. Let the world touch you. Let the suffering touch you. Let the good and joyful times touch you, but also let the bad times touch you. I am going through it personally right now in my life, and I'm trying to navigate through it through friends and friendships and relationships. And it's amazing how what happens when someone's going through a tough time, that it's not so much the tough time that defines you. It's literally, there's no beauty in suffering, but it's the love that surrounds the suffering that is beautiful. And I've had an outpouring of love from Facebook, from many different platforms, from friends and family, just offering their gifts on like a maximum scale like I've never felt before, just because we're in a new age right now and we're able to support each other from many different channels, and it's unbelievable. So I am currently going through it. I'm obviously sad, I'm frustrated, I'm angry, I'm going through the 5 stages of grief, of course, but I'm allowing myself to feel the emotion. I'm allowing myself to talk about it. I'm allowing myself to to process it. I'm allow myself to feel it, to not necessarily understand it, but to go deep into the suffering, so that as I said, I come up more compassionate, loving, strong, and my ability to serve people will be that much more precise and deep. So that is the first step to self-mastery, or self-emotional mastery, is to feel the entire spectrum of human emotion, the suffering, the pain. Don't deny it. The darkness is there. Oftentimes people say, I had someone say the other day to me after my mother died, so only when it rains, it pours. But that's only half the truth. When it rains, it pours, but after it pours, it sunshines. And after it sunshines, it gives life. It gives new birth to life. So sunshine is coming in my life. That's what living a life of faith is all about. Knowing, having faith that after all this torment, after all this tough times, that there's sunshine, there's perspective, there's lessons. I know myself better. I know the world better. I'm wiser. I'm stronger. I'm fitter. I'm healthier, emotionally, spiritually. My relationships are that much deeper. In fact, I can tell you right now, because of my mom's death, it's only been a few days now, I'm closer to my two brothers and my sister than I've ever been before. I can say that with absolute certainty right now. I have a conversations. It's that much deeper than I've ever had it with them before. And we've never necessarily had the greatest relationships. They're amazing and they have their own talents. We just, we butted heads a lot, but now, wow, everything's removed. All that stuff is removed. We've put aside all our differences for the common good, to bringing people together for the upcoming funeral. And it just happens that relationships are the topic of what we're doing for the next couple of weeks. And obviously what's amazing is coincidental that we're talking about emotional mastery. So that's the first step, guys, feeling the entire spectrum of the human experience. The second step is to train yourself on a consistent basis to be in peak emotional states when tough times come, so that you're stronger and more prepared than ever. So when the tough times do come, and inevitably come, you're prepared mentally, emotionally, physically. You're surrounding yourself with the right amount of people that are positive, that are powerful, that you admire, that cheer you on during the tough times and the bad times. And there's even something I was talking to a friend of mine who's a coach, and he talked about how, I think it was a study at Harvard, about how he talked about the difference between self-esteem and self-compassion. And what was more important, what they discovered was self-compassion is far greater quality to have than self-esteem. Because as an example, self-esteem is something like, it's like when things are going well, you're doing well. But when things are going bad, your self-esteem may drop. But self-compassion is like your best friend who says, when things are going well, they cheer you on. When things aren't going so well, guess what? They're going, it's okay. You're human. It's okay. You can get through it. Let's get through it together. You can do it. Show yourself a little bit of compassion. You're human. So that's what I'm going through right now. A little bit of self-compassion to allow myself to rest a bit more, to be with friends a bit more, to love myself more, to allow other people into my world a little bit more, so I can open up and cry on their shoulders whenever need be. And let me tell you something. I have to say, training myself each and every day, physically, mentally, emotionally, through meditation, through prayer, through working out my body, working out my mind, reading positive books, has prepared me with so much. How should I say the word? With so much, I feel so empowered to continue to move on, because I know my mom would want me to continue on and celebrating her life by giving to others. And that's how my mom lived, actually. She, 2 days prior to her death, she was very sick, yet she was walking 5-6 kilometers to bring my sister some food. That's the type of woman my mom was. And so I have to say, I want to continue on her legacy. The Cheam team lives in us, in my family, and we're extending that to the rest of the world. So I'm here to serve, despite what I'm going through. And I'm going to give myself self-care for the people out there that are, sending their love and prayers. It's all welcome. Send the good vibes. I'm going to take this journey with anyone else who else is sharing in an experience like this. So again, step one, feel the entire spectrum of the human experience, deny nothing. Number two, train yourself to be in peak emotional states most of the time through physical exercise, through meditation, through prayer, through incantations, through hanging around with positive people that you admire, people that are better than you, that won't let you go down, but will raise you up. So I know it's very uncomfortable to hang around people that are better than you and smarter than you or wiser than you. But guess what? That discomfort is an invitation to step up and go after what you're really after. And so train yourself physically, emotionally, mentally, relationship-wise, and I promise you, when the tough times come, it's like a great metaphor for this is that imagine you're lifting 50. Your goal is to live 150 pounds over your head, and you're training the muscle to finally do it, but you can only lift 60, and then you train yourself. Finally, you get to 70 and 80 and push it, and when it finally comes time to do the lift of 150 pounds, you're able to do it. But if you don't train the muscle, when you finally comes down to lifting the 150 pounds over your head in 6 months, you're not going to be able to do it because you haven't trained yourself. So if you train yourself consistently every day, day in, day out, to make those deposits into your bank, your mental, emotional, spiritual bank account, your relationship bank account, you've accrued so much interest, so much principal. Your net worth in every area of your life is so large that you're able to take those tough times. So when you finally do make a withdrawal from your life, it's making it from the interest and not necessarily the principal. So it's a great thing to think about. And the third and final step, guys, I find myself doing this now. Having gone through what I've gone through the past few days, I find myself asking for help. And Les Brown has this great quote: don't ask for help because you're weak, ask for help because you want to remain strong. And for me, asking for help from friends and family, asking for help from my friends who are therapists or coaches, asking for acquaintances, coworkers, people that are around me that are just supporting me, and the overwhelming love that's come forth to reach out to me and my family and my friends who are going through this with me is unbelievable. So don't hesitate to ask for help. You know, as I said before in a previous podcast, Zig Ziglar says, if you find a turtle on a fence post, be damn sure that turtle didn't get up there by himself. So understand that in order to get to the top of the mountain, we need to help each other up. And an African proverb says, you know, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. Go with a team of people that are cheering you on, that you can support each other, and you will win the game of life. You will win the game of emotional mastery and self-mastery.
So Anthony, there's like there's a whole belief system, because I believe that there's duality that exists in this universe. There's the good, there's the bad, there's the light, there's the dark. Nothing can really exist without it. But some people have a misconception that it's like, oh hey, I'm feeling negative emotions. This is bringing me down. This is negative. This is not something that I want to be a part of. And they essentially basically numb themselves to the human experience. They're not experiencing the whole emotions. So guess what? They're just like, okay, I'm not happy, nor am I sad. And they end up down this spiral where they're constantly bickering or fighting to feel something at that point.
Yes.
What would you say about that?
Of course. Well, I mean, I've been through it, where this is where addictions happen. This is where bad behaviors, destructive patterns happen. You know, when you reach threshold in your life where things are happening so bad, you might reach a point. You know, Tony Robbins and Chloe Madonis teach the crazy eight pattern: the hard emotions, the soft emotions. Hard emotions are like anger and rage, and first like depression and sadness and loneliness and boredom. And you end up going back and forth from soft to hard emotions. Eventually, to get out of that sort of crazy eight loop, you either go down by choosing a vehicle that will get you out of that emotion, that will give you pleasure in the moment, like food or alcohol or drugs. And not to say that, you know, food would be bad, but in short term, it may not be. It might be actually about what you actually need. So for me, let me tell you something. I reached threshold on the weekend. So I threw out all my exercise and all that stuff. I just hung out with my friends and family, and I didn't have any routine or anything like that. But so you can either go down ahead and discover the source of why you're feeling a certain way. Go seek help. Rather than go down, go up. Go up, meaning this: face what's in front of you, just identify what emotional pattern that you're in, whether it be an emotional pattern of distress or anxiety or feeling down or depressed, and go deep into that depression. Meditate on it. Ask, go see a therapist, go see a coach, go and understand and navigate yourself through the actual pattern. What is happening prior to the emotional pattern that you go into of loneliness or boredom that leads you to overeat, that leads you to overdrink, that leads you to overshop, that leads you to isolate yourself. And once you understand the emotional pattern, because the reality is you can actually change the pattern of overeating, but if you don't change the emotional pattern that leads to overeating, you're just going to choose an equally destructive pattern, like over smoking or over drinking or over watching Netflix or whatever it might be, whatever addiction whatever vehicle you choose. So for me, I choose, for me, how I cope, honestly, it might be not the greatest thing for me, but I actually want to people, because I know serving people through my suffering, that actually for them to allow me to serve them while I'm suffering is actually bringing me joy to serve them. Being on this podcast, listen, there's a part of me that didn't want to be on this podcast, but serving the people that are listening to this podcast is such a brings me so much joy and energy and juice, knowing that my pain, what I'm going through, is going to help someone out there right now, whether one person or 10 people or 1,000 people, it doesn't matter. It's the depth I want to impact people that matters to me personally anyway. And so so the patterns, what you're asking about, how do you get yourself out of that? Identify the problem, go seek help. Get some help. Don't just continue on because the problem is, here's the issue. There was a guy named Ram Dass. He talked about a picture in a newspaper. I think it was Ram Dass. And he talked about a picture in the newspaper where there's this female cop pulling away this baby that was being abused by the mother, and the baby was reaching back to its abusive mother. And you go, well, why would it do that? Because it's the only thing that it knows. It's familiar to the actual baby. Mm-hmm. So it's familiar. That's why we enter destructive relationships, because we can only think that we know. But if we kind of identify, this isn't good for me, this isn't healthy for me, what can I do to get myself? Seek help. That is strong. There's a rare strength in going to seek help. I've got a problem, I don't know how to handle this. How can someone help me? How can you help me? That's not negative. Identifying a problem is not negative. Identifying a problem and then going to work to the solution, that's strong and positive. Identifying a problem and then saying, oh, there's nothing I can do about it, I might as well just continue on this destructive, crazy loop pattern because it makes me feel good in the moment. That's the negative part. So you want to rise up. You want to ask for help. You want to go seek help. Read as many books. Attend as many seminars. Go back to church. Go back to your mosque. Whatever it is that the spiritual journey you're on. Ask for help, because guess what? There are people out there that can help you with your pattern. There are people. I've had my own level of addictions. I've had my own level of problems. I didn't solve them on my own. I sought out teachers from audios, from seminars, from coaches, from therapists, from spiritual directors, from business people. I'm not here because I got here on my own. I got here because I had many people believe in me, that were better than me, that are helping me.
So with the topic of emotional mastery, one might think that emotional mastery means that you are very well set off to deal with emotions within yourself. And that means that you're this person who can deal with positive and negative. So in terms of asking for help, where is it that people have a fault?
Sorry, ask that question again. Where's the people have a fault? What do you mean?
There might be a person who says, okay, I have mastered all my emotions. I know I can feel sadness and I'll get out of it. I know I'll be happy, and I might shoot way too much. But where is that fine line where a person says, okay, I think I need external help? I know how to manage myself, but I need external help with this.
Yes. Okay. So there's a saying that says, the definition of insanity says doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result, right? So why am I keep on doing this? Why do I keep overeating? Why do I keep over drinking? Well, there's another saying that says, a crooked line doesn't know it's crooked until it compares itself with a straight line. So what that means is if you're not on the right path, find someone who is on the right path, who you admire, and then model them, ask them questions. If you want to lose weight, not that difficult. Find someone who's done it before, and then basically model their behavior. Find out their story, find out their plan, and then model it. Find out their emotional behaviors. Find out how they literally become like a little kid that's going on an adventure and going the little intricacies, the little subtleties of what these people do, from how they talk to themselves, how they breathe, how they talk, how they walk, their daily habits, their rituals, all these things that will lead you to a more empowered life, emotional mastery. And again, as I said, it's not about denying the negative. In fact, I'm in a dark place right now. There's some dark places I need to go into. I don't go, and then overeat or something like that. And for the people out there that use external negative, destructive patterns, and that's okay, because I've been there. Trust me, I've used food, I've used drugs, I've used alcohol, I've used various forms of destructive behaviors. But I don't necessarily beat myself up. The mature emotional master will identify the problem. Will from the time they make the mistake to the time they correct it, the people that are really mature will actually, the length of time from which they made the mistake to the time they correct it is actually a lot shorter, rather than screwing up 10,000 times over and over and over again. So again, find someone who you admire. Find someone, a coach, a mentor, friend, a family member, whatever it is, and study them, study their behavior, and be open with them. Like as it says in the Bible, the truth shall set you free. Be truthful with them. There's been so many times where I thought people would judge me because I was going through a difficult time or I had an addiction. I was supposed to be this, positive, motivational guy. But when I finally admitted that I had some of these deep problems going on, it was like, wow, I had a greater respect for my peers going, wow, Anthony actually is human, right? And so there's this great dialogue that opened up, and I was able to be free from that and being able to ask for help when I knew I needed the help, and I wasn't feel so ashamed by it. A great example of this too was I suffer from seasonal affective disorder. And for 20 years, 25 years probably, I've had it. And I just didn't know I had it until I started studying it for the past 6, 7 years. And I get it really bad to the point it's like I can get 8 hours sleep. I can work out, and I am down, like depressed and down. And then I sought out help from doctors, psychologists, from nutritionists, from holistic nutritionists. I reached out, and I got all this information and wisdom to help me kind of counteract the symptoms, like the vitamin D, like the magnesium, the ultra light rays, like light box I use right here that shines light during the wintertime. I use aromatherapy. I use all these things that'll help me kind of counteract the effects. And let me tell you something, those things have brought me back to I'd say 80, 90% that how I normally am if I started in December. How did I do that? I didn't just think, okay, I'll figure it out on my own. I asked for help. I went out to doctors. I went out to therapists. I went out to friends. I went to nutritionists. I didn't just sit there and go, okay, I'm stupid. I'm not good enough. I'm just going to suffer through this and be a hero. No. Don't try to have this hero mentality. Think that you can do it on your own. Ask for help. That is the emotional mastery. There's a rare strength in it. And as I said, Les Brown had that great saying that says, don't ask for help because you are weak. Ask for help because you want to remain strong.
That sounded so good. So real quick, could you just give like a short step-by-step on how to be an emotional master? Master all your emotions, negative or positive.
Yes. Feel it, own it, live it. So feel the emotion. Own it as yours, not as anybody else or someone out there or some circumstances making you feel a way. You're the one processing that certain event in your life. Feel it, own it, and then live it and breathe it. And then you can shift your like, as an example of this. There's a couple times I've been on stage speaking, and I got some bad news prior to going on stage, and I remember going, oh my gosh, like I'm not sure if I can do this. And I said, there's times when right now's not the time. There was a couple of times I had the flu. I had to go out on stage and actually had to speak. But now's not the time. I'm here to serve these people. And guess what? For that full hour, I was amped up and champed up like I'd never been. Like I literally just went full tilt. But after I was done serving the people through that hour of speaking, I literally dropped to the floor. So that's what happened. So literally. And here's the reality. So you feel it, you don't deny it, you own it as yours, nobody else. You're taking full responsibility for your emotional patterns, and then you live and breathe how you want to live and breathe. That is, understand what peak emotional states you need to be in order to move you in the direction that you need to go on a consistent basis. So I can tell you right now, make service a big part of your life, because serving other people, as I think I told someone on the last or this podcast 1 or 2 ago about this guy named Mathieu Richard, and he's this Buddhist monk who's like the happiest man in the world, and they've studied his brain, and the parts of his brain that are happy and joyful, it's like lit up, and the part of his brain that's responsible for depression and sadness, there's literally nothing there. And it's not that he doesn't feel it. They asked him, so what do you do on a daily basis to feel that way? He says, well, I meditate 4 hours a day. And then he said, okay, great, but what are some practical things that you do on a consistent basis? And he says, well, when I get down, and I do get down, I think about someone that's going through something worse than I am, and then I go to serve and make their life better. That's what I'm doing right now. I'm not feeling good about my life right now, and I'm doing things right now that are going to serve you. I'm not feeling the greatest, but I want to serve you. I want to spread the love. And as Rumi said so eloquently, he said this great quote, one of my favorite quotes. He says, "Out of a shattered heart emerges a fiery fountain of sacred passion that never runs dry." Out of a shattered heart emerges a fiery fountain of sacred passion that never runs dry. And he also said this, that in order to break open the heart, it must first be broken. So if you're going through heartache, if you're going through tough times, more love can go pour out from a shattered heart. So I hope that helps everyone here today. And by the way, sorry, Danish. And by the way, if you guys like this, again, not to promote this podcast or anything, but if you like it, share it. Go on Spotify and YouTube and iTunes, share it, subscribe. I want to help you. I want to serve you from the deepest part of me. I really am. I hope I'm coming across as genuine and authentic. There's no script here. I just want to help people get through their time, live the best life they possibly can live, and help them to understand what's available to them in their lives. So thank you for joining us.